Welcome to the LA Real Estate Podcast, our podcast all about buying and selling real estate in Los Angeles. I'm Sara, your host, and I'm actually coming to you today from my house. I'm in quarantine, like so many of us are right now. I hope you're all staying safe and healthy, and I hope you're practicing your social distancing. We actually recorded this episode prior to the outbreak, but I still wanted to share it with you in the hopes that you'll enjoy it. And hopefully it gives you a small distraction from this really difficult time. On the show, we have Natalie Salins from Movement Mortgage, and she is talking to us all about appraisals. I hope you enjoy. Joining me on the show today is my pal, Natalie Salins from Movement Mortgage. Hi, Natalie.
Hi there.
Before we start, can we just talk about the fact that you're an opera singer?
Oh, wow. You really threw that on me just now.
You're incredible. I've heard you sing, and it was incredible. Do you still perform a lot?
Dude. I do. Yeah, I had a concert in Santa Barbara this weekend.
Oh my God. Well, next time you're performing in LA, will you please let me know? Because I want to come see you and hear you.
Okay.
Yay.
I don't really like to talk about it. But
You should. You're incredibly talented. It's so amazing.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Yay. Okay. Well, let's, get into the fun stuff, the lending process. So when people get a loan, one of the wonderful fun things that they have to prepare for is the appraisal. So let's talk about appraisals. So first of all, can you explain to all the listeners when the appraisal ordered, what is it for, and how it, fits in with the loan process?
So the appraisal's ordered most of the time right up front. Like it's the first thing we want to do because it is going to validate what the value of the home is and if you are purchasing it for, what it's really worth. But it's a tough thing, appraisals, because all it is, a person's opinion. So sometimes it'll come in high, sometimes it'll come in low. And you put only as much weight as you want to on it based on actual facts of what's selling in the neighborhood. So based on the comps and stuff like that. But yeah, we like to do it beginning.
Right. So right away you order the appraisal. How much are you charging or how much are the appraisals costing?
So appraisals are normally around $500 to $600. I'd say on $1 million houses and above, they're $650 to $700.
Okay. And then most people just put them on the credit card over the phone, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So they send an appraiser out to the property. The guy or gal looks around the property. So what are they looking for other than just, value? What are they looking for when they're at their properties?
Good question. So yes, good to note that we always have to go through a third party to order the appraisal. We're not allowed direct contact with them. That came into play in 2009 because there was too much going on with me being able to call an appraiser and be like, listen, I need you to go out to the property tomorrow. I need it to come in at $750. Thanks. There was a lot of that. And that obviously got banned. I can lose my license for talking directly to an appraisal nowadays. So it's all done through a third party company. And yes, so the appraiser goes out to the property. He starts looking around. He will take measurements. So he has accurate square footage. And then he will follow up with what the city has as accurate square footage, because a lot of the times, of course, in LA, we've got a ton of unpermitted square footage in properties. He will see if everything is somewhat in working order. So definitely the electricity has to be on, water has to be on, gas has to be working. It has to be like as if an inspector went out there from the city, as if it would pass an inspection.
Do they look at the roofs too?
They glance at the roof is what I like to say. So they will look at it. If it looks like it's falling apart, they will mention, I recommend a roof cert or a roof inspection be done.
Interesting. So basically the bank, or the investor that's lending you the money wants to make sure that you're not buying a money pit that you're going to move into. All of a sudden it's going to fall apart. The roof's going to leak. Everything's going to get ruined. And then you're not going to be able to pay your mortgage and walk away. And they're stuck with a dilapidated house.
That is exactly right. Also, that you're not going to get hurt in it.
Right.
It can't have any health or safety hazards in the house.
That's a good point.
So if they...
sorry to interrupt. I have had an appraiser come out, and there was a back deck that was slightly elevated. They actually made the seller, they said, we are not lending on this house until safety rails are put up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That sounds normal. Or if there's like a back deck that's like rotten with termites, they might make you get rid of it.
Interesting.
Or replace it.
Something sad, I know a couple tree houses have been flagged and had to be torn down.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Health and safety hazard.
Right. You don't want some drunk uncle climbing up there and falling and breaking his neck and suing you.
Exactly. Exactly.
So how much, right now we're getting a ton of bidding wars, especially in Northeast LA, where, 19 to 50 offers. I have a friend that had a listing in Mount Washington recently, and they got 52 offers, which is insane.
Yeah.
So obviously this is driving the prices up to way above what the comps say. So how many appraisals are you finding right now are actually lower than what people are offering, and what's been happening with those?
So some are, some aren't. Definitely, I feel like listings are being put out there lower than what they're worth to get kind of the chaos around multiple bidders happening. So a lot of the time it's being listed for $750, but it's really worth $825, and then it's selling for $875.
Right. So the appraisers on those are coming in at value.
Exactly. So it's really about, figuring out with the buyer what it is that they feel comfortable spending over what the possible value might be. So look, the value might be $825, and that's just what the value is. So are you cool to spend an extra $25,000 to get the house that you really, really want, or not?
Right.
And then, for you, of course, you have to chat about contingencies and things like that. But lenders don't want to buy a house more than what it's worth.
Right.
And the only way that they can tell what it's worth is through an appraisal, again, which is just somebody's opinion. That's why it's important that you go with a lender who is local, knows the appraisers, knows who's going out to the properties, and that they understand the area. All of that is very, very important. You can't just get I have a guy who came to me because his lender was in New York, and they were a nationwide company, and he got some random appraiser who doesn't live anywhere near the area.
Right.
So
right.
He didn't understand Eagle Rock and blah, blah, blah. So he had to switch the file over to me. And the appraisal came in.
I've had that happen before, that the appraiser has come out, and one of their comps was, let's say, Cypress Park, when the house is in Mount Washington. And as you know, in Northeast LA, if you're in the Mount Washington Elementary School District, it raises the value of your house by at least $100,000 because you're never going to have to pay for private school. And he used comps based in Cypress Park, so the house didn't come in at value. They ended up, I think, making up the difference in cash because they just knew that the house was worth more than what the appraised value was. And then are you finding that certain lenders have more conservative appraisers? I've noticed, I don't know if it's a trend, but I've noticed some of the commercial banks, their appraisers tend to be more way out of area. We'll have appraisers that'll say they drove in from Riverside, and their values they don't really seem to understand kind of our market right now.
Right, exactly. If you have an appraiser coming in from anywhere out of town, they're just not going to get the LA market, even though they'll say they do.
Right.
You just can't unless you're here, unless you're appraising these properties every day.
Right.
My appraisers are going out to 3-4 properties a day. They understand West Adams. They know what's happening there. They understand all of the properties that are happening in Inglewood are about to blow up, so they're understanding the market more. And they're actually, I have an appraisal that came in yesterday that kind of gave weight to listings. So appraisals are never supposed to give any weight to something that isn't already sold.
Right.
Because there's no guarantee that the listing is going to sell for what it's listed at. So you can only use sold properties when you're looking at comps. And because it's Inglewood and because it's kind of a new project that's being built, he gave a ton of weight to the other few units that are in the project that are not sold.
Oh, interesting.
That are higher, way higher than the comps.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, so it's interesting, yeah. But you have to understand the area to do something like that, to have the wherewithal.
How often do appraisals come above what the purchase price is?
I would say, let's knock on some wood here. I would say just as much as they come in below.
Interesting.
So
interesting.
30% or so, 20%. I hate to even throw a number.
Right. Well, that's good to know.
But I've got, sometimes people get good deals.
Right.
But they're still out there.
Thank you so much, Natalie. I think you've shed a little light into the appraisal process for all the listeners. It's just another fun step in buying a house. And if anybody wants to contact Natalie, her information will be in the podcast notes. She's one of our favorite guests. Thanks for coming on, Natalie. You always have so much information.
Oh, my gosh.
And
that's a pleasure.
That's appraisals. All right. Coming up, we have a buyer's tip. Here's a buyer's tip. Schedule your utilities before the close of escrow. You can do this online a lot. Call the gas company, power, water, etc., to have them change the account. A lot of times people forget about this and then they go to move into their new house and they don't have anything set up. So it's really important to do this before you close escrow. Your realtor should remind you, but just put in your calendar maybe a week, a couple days before close that you set up all these accounts and you have it ready to go. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so excited because guess who's joining me on the phone today? Tanner Thomason is back. So Tanner,
Real Estate Podcast in the house.
Oh my God, I missed you so much. So to everybody listening who has noticed that Tanner has not been on the last multiple podcast episodes, Tanner has been incredibly busy making a movie.
Yes.
It's so exciting. Okay.
Yeah. Made a movie and was working for CBS for a while. It's been crazy. Still working on the guest house.
Super, super busy, Tanner. So quickly, can you just tell us a tiny bit about your movie?
Oh, well, so the movie is called Faith-Based. It's about a couple guys who need a little direction in life, and they discover the get-rich-quick scheme that is making a religious movie. Those movies always make a lot of money, even if they're not very good, even if they're not made by people with the best intentions. And so they set out to make one of their own, and they learn a couple things about life along the way.
It's so exciting. I can't wait to see it. And you had your premiere in Santa Barbara, right, a few weeks ago?
Yeah, we had the world premiere in Santa Barbara just a couple weeks ago. We've got a couple more festivals coming up. We just signed with a sales agent. And so the movie, one way or another, is 99% coming out later this year, hopefully late summer, early fall.
Oh, my God. I'm so excited. I cannot wait to see it and have a big party and see it over and over and over. Yeah. Well, congratulations. So, okay, I'm really excited that you called in. I've missed you so much. Everybody's missed you. And we actually got to hang out the other night, which was really fun. We've hung out a few times since then. So I'm an active follower on your Instagram, and I see your hilarious posts about this whole ADU. So give us an update on your back guest house. So ADU, accessory dwelling unit, Tanner has been converting this. Was it original? No, it wasn't originally a garage, was it?
Well, originally it was a garage. When it was constructed, it was a garage, a 20 by 20 garage, pretty standard for Los Angeles and I'm sure a lot of other places. And then whoever owned the house in the mid 2000s, I think around 2012, they built a little guest house out of it, and they took down the garage door and they built up a new wall and they framed out where a bathroom would go, and they made everything look really, really nice. But it was what we would call a spare space, right? That's what you would call that.
Right.
So it was a spare space separate from the house.
There was no bathroom, right?
Correct. Yeah, no bathroom, no water. There was electrical, but nothing else.
So you're like, heck, I'm taking it on. So for those of you that don't know, you can go back, and we've actually discussed ADUs quite a bit in our podcast. But the city has created this ordinance that you can convert. Obviously, there's a lot of regulations to how you do it and if you can do it, but converting a space on your property into a guest house. So that's what Tanner has been doing. So what step are you at now? Are you halfway through? Or are you getting near the end?
Oh, I'm definitely getting near the end. As a matter of fact, the only reason that I'm not there with you guys right now is I had an inspection this morning. For anybody who gets real serious about this, maybe you'll hire a contractor, maybe you'll decide to do it yourself, but either way, you'll have to deal with inspections eventually. And if it's your contractor dealing with them, then great, you don't have to worry about it. But if it's you, like it's me, then I have to make myself available for these city employees who come out to check on the work and make sure that it's all done to code. And so I had an inspection for my insulation this morning. And I passed, of course.
Yes, you did. You passed your installation inspection. That's an exciting day. I hope you're popping a bottle of champagne right now.
Not quite. Still it's a little early in the day for champagne. Who am I kidding? That's not true. Any time of day.
I was going to say you've changed,
champagne.
Tanner. You've changed.
Yeah.
So
champagne for the dang tang.
So I think the last time I was talking with you about the ADU, you were doing the sewer line, and I was really curious to find out how much work that was and how that went and all that.
So the biggest thing about an ADU, the most complicated part of all of it, is the things that you have to have done for the DWP, Department of Water and Power. And so obviously that's sewage, water, and electricity. Sewage, above all, is the most complicated because there's little discrepancies between how your sewage line can be ran. For instance, I was told that my sewage line could not pierce the footprint of my house, which meant that I had to dig and around my house and then through my front yard to connect to the city main. I was with a friend of mine last night in his ADU, and for whatever reason, he got different information, and they were able to connect to the main underneath his house. Now, his sewage does not connect to his house underneath. It connects to the city main underneath, and that is a big difference there. So sewage is tough.
Yeah,
it's tough.
And expensive. Would you say that's the most expensive part so far of the ADU build?
Oh, hands down.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, hands down. Without a doubt, sewage has been the most expensive. I hired a great company to do it. They did it quick. They weren't cheap, but the work is very high quality, and they did it very quickly. And so, it's good, fast, or cheap. You can only get two at a time.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
I got good and fast. But yeah, sewage is definitely the toughest.
When it comes to sewer, you don't want to be cutting corners.
Well, and anything that's buried, anything that goes under the ground very deep, you want it to be done right the first time because you don't want to have to dig it back up because then you're in a pool of poo-poo caca water and you're trying to fix the problem.
You're in really big beep, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So what's the interior look like now? Like is the kitchen roughing in? Is the bathroom? Where are you in the process?
So, so my drywall is going to begin over the next couple days, and then once that's done, it will start to legitimately look like a small house. Like you'll be able to see all the walls, the bathroom, and everything. It's all framed out now, but it's you're still looking at studs, and so the insulation will get done. I'll get an inspection on that, and then it will be completing a bathroom. That's sort of the order of operations for me.
Who's doing the bathroom for you? Because you've been kind of piecemealing who you're getting to do. Like you didn't get a general contractor. You're hiring the subcontractors yourself. So who's putting in the bathroom for you? Are you just getting a plumber and then figuring that out? Or do you have someone like a bathroom contractor helping you?
I don't currently have a bathroom contractor. So a lot of bathroom stuff is relatively easy. It's easy. Anybody can install a toilet. Toilets are easy to install.
I don't know about anybody, Tanner.
Yeah, a lot of people, I should say. A lot of
right.
people can install a toilet. It's not that not super complicated, but showers and bathtubs are a little more complicated from the city's perspective in terms of like waterproofing and these different kinds of things. And so I'm probably going to have a little help getting the shower installed. I'm going to do like a shower pan unit, which means that I don't have to do a thing called a hot mop.
Yeah, that's what we have in our bathroom. Yeah. I actually got a really neat shower pan that has a hidden drain in it, which we really like. We've had it for 10 years. Yeah, cool. It looks really good.
Send me the link to that.
Yeah, I'll send you a picture. We really like it. So when do you think, like, completion date? How far along do you think it'll be before it's done?
It's tricky because I'm doing it all on my own. I'm approaching this as like owner builder, which is one of the ways the city will let you go about this without having, a license or without being a contractor, an owner builder. They'll let you mess your own stuff up. If you want to mess your own stuff up, they'll let you do it. So I don't know. By the end of March is a very real possibility.
That's exciting. And, I think it would be fun to post some social media pictures of like, it when it's done. How big is the square footage of it?
It's about 400 square feet.
So it's a perfect little single person unit, really. Do you think you're going to Airbnb or keep it for guests or get a long-term tenant?
I'm definitely not going to long-term tenant it. I don't like the idea of just giving up my backyard full-time. Although, like, if I wound up in some real dire straits and got super desperate, for some income, I could absolutely do that. But I think what I'm going to do is Airbnb it and have it also as a little home office creative space.
That's so great. And also, you have so many creative endeavors. You never know when something's going to take you out of the city for chunks of time. And it's just great to have the option.
Absolutely. Well, and here's the other thing I want to throw out there to anybody who's like thinking about this or the whole Airbnb phenomenon in Los Angeles is intense.
Right.
I was with my buddy last night. It was a birthday party. We were hanging out in their little ADU, really great unit. Him and his wife told me that when they, on a whim, they were just like, man, we'll throw it up on Airbnb and just see. And then it was booked for over 100 days straight.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah, they average about $1,900 a month income on their Airbnb. Just like their Airbnb, their ADU makes them like $19 a month.
And do they find, is it something, so I've heard two different things. I know someone that's Airbnb and they were just like, you know what, it was too much work, so we're actually just going to get a long-term tenant. And then I know people that just are like, Airbnb is such a great option for us. So it seemed like it was a lot of work to maintain. And, when people come out, you have to get a cleaner to come in and make sure there's no damages and all that. What was their opinion on it?
So the thing that they told me, which is really great, is like, you can obviously, set it up to your liking. Like they don't do single day rentals, right? Like you're not going to come and stay at this place one night because
right.
The percentage chance that it's somebody who might not be the most reputable and just needs one night, that seems to line up. So they do a 2-night minimum. They charge like $95 a night. And then you can also black out dates. Let's say you don't want to rent it out over the weekends. Well, then you just, put that into your listing. And so, I don't know. It seems like something that would make sense for me. But if somebody says it's too much work, then I don't know. Maybe raise their prices and see if that makes it any more work.
Right. No, that completely makes sense. And I do think there's a lot, LA is such a interesting city as far as industry. Pilot season, we have a ton of actors that come just for pilot season and they're here for a month or two. And staying in a hotel doesn't make sense when you're here for that a long amount of time. So right, Airbnbs make a lot of sense. Now they have changed the Airbnb rules in LA, so it's important to be aware of those. And things are constantly changing. So it's good to obviously know what your responsibilities are and reporting the income and paying the taxes and all that fun stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But it's super exciting. I want to see it when it's all done and hang out. I miss you, Tanner.
No, I miss you guys too. I do want to throw this out there for anybody who might be listening and they are turning around and they're looking at that old garage in their backyard and they're like, I want to make that an ADU. It is a relatively complicated process. If you do owner builder like I have, you will encounter many headaches, and depending on your setup and depending on your plans and different things like that, I would say you need to be prepared to spend anywhere between, and I'm not kidding here, anywhere between $70,000 to $120,000. That's at this point. That's what I would, which is a lot more than I anticipated, but that's what I would say it's going to cost.
I think, I think that's realistic. I mean, we were getting quotes just for remodeling our bathroom and not even changing the floor print that much, and we were getting quotes from $20,000 to $25,000.
Jeez.
Yeah, and that's not even that's us paying for the fixtures, paying for the toilet, paying for the tub, paying for all of that. So really it would be more like 25 to 30. And I was really surprised. That seemed incredibly high to me. But, like we said, the good contractors are incredibly busy right now. A lot of people are buying, getting work done. There's a lot of flips going on. People are putting money into their properties. So there's not as many good qualified contractors. And the ones that are cheap are not usually good.
Well, yeah. The other thing is, like, there's so much of it that it's like you can take on yourself. Like I said, a lot of people, like, installing a toilet might seem daunting at first, and then after a YouTube video or two, you're like, no, yeah, I can do this. I mean, you've got two kids, so there's no doubt in my mind you can install a toilet.
Right. I did fix my dishwasher after watching a YouTube video. I was very proud of myself. I'm actually fairly handy. What I don't have, though, is time. I don't have time.
Yeah. Oh, that's
ever.
what it comes down to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's
for sure.
It's crazy. Well, Tanner, I really appreciate you coming back. We miss you. And Tanner will be popping up here and then on the podcast and giving us updates on the ADU. But it's so great to have you back. And I'll be right back with a buyer's tip. Here's a buyer's tip. Ask your neighbors for recommendations for gardeners. And make sure you maintain your irrigation system, that water isn't spraying up against your house or getting into your crawl space or affecting your drainage. But neighbors always know the best people to use at very good prices, so ask your neighbors for recommendations. We're going to be discussing 5 things when you are a homeowner that you need to maintain around your house. And here's a little bit of a tip. One of the things that you want to do to sort of set the time is the beginning of the year. Every year, do these 5 things. Just put it on your calendar. The 2nd of January, every year, do these things. One of the things is walk around your property, check your sprinkler and irrigation system. Make sure there aren't any leaks. Make sure nothing is rusting or broken. It's a good time to do it. And if you're getting a sprinkler company, that's a good time to call them because they won't be as busy at the beginning of the year. If you wait until the hot months, they're going to be booked up for a week. So that's a good time. The second thing is your HVAC. So twice a year, really, you want to get your HVAC service. That's your heating, air conditioning. I'm on a service plan. So I actually have someone come out in right before the winter season and right before the summer just to maintain them, to clean them, to change whatever things need to be changed. And it's very inexpensive. It's usually $150 each time they come. If you keep your HVAC in good condition, it's going to last many, many, many years longer, especially if you're keeping your compressor clean, making sure all the filters have been cleaned. Really important to do that. It's going to save you a lot of money in the long run. Okay, the third thing, your roof. Make sure this is a good time to do it as well, is you go up or have someone go up on the roof, check all the roof tiles, make sure that there aren't any missing tiles, and just have a roofer. There's a lot of great roofing companies to have just come and do an inspection and fix anything, seal anything that needs to be sealed, so you don't wait until you have a problem before you get someone out. Also, in regards to your roof, your gutters. Now, we don't have really seasons in LA, but when we do, gutters need to be changed and cleaned. So just make sure you can get a handyman to do it. There's a lot of window washing companies that also clean gutters. So just make sure the leaves are out of there. You can do it yourself. Just, of course, be careful on the ladder. And then the last thing is your smoke detectors. You should test your detectors once a year.
a lot of the new smoke detectors will chirp and warn when your battery is low, but just have them test them once a year just to make sure they're all working. A lot of the smoke detectors now are also carbon monoxide detectors, and just make sure, change the battery, make sure that they're working well. And if you do these things, your house will be in much better condition. Thank you for listening to the LA Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Sara Skelton. Special thanks to my guest, Natalie Salins from Movement Mortgage, Tanner Thomason, my sweet, sweet bandmate, great guitar player, and he also has incredible hair. If you need a real estate agent, of course, anytime, reach out to me. My contact information is in the podcast notes. For Los Angeles, if you need a real estate agent anywhere else in the country, contact me and I'll get you set up with an amazing eXp Realtor. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Poo-poo caca water